Alright, folks, I've seen 9 films in May, tied with March for the most films I've seen this year, folks. Let's rank them. Alright, folks, coming in dead last place. Also, my least favorite film, both of May and of the entire year, is Spiral with an F. A solid F for Spiral. It is an awful, awful horror film that really brings nothing new to the table. The comedy is horrible, as well as many of the filming techniques just really bring you out of the film, and it sucks. There's nothing original about it. If you want to see my full thoughts, of course, check out the review. But I can say that I did not enjoy a minute of this film. Folks, coming in at number 8 has to be The Woman in the Window. Quite a jump up. We had no D's this month, so a C is what The Woman in the Window gets. It's another unoriginal film, just like Spiral, but a thriller this time around, not so much a horror. There's some overacting in here. It really does feel just like a sloppy, uninteresting story that really, it's not even worth watching. There's really just no point to watch. You can get anything you would find in this film anywhere else and done better. Of course, there are a few good scenes, so maybe I take that back. There are a few enjoyable scenes that I certainly quite liked, actually, a few creative directing choices, but, by and large, Woman in the Window doesn't have all that much to offer. Number 8. Folks, coming in at number 7 is a film I did not review and I actually just watched today before filming this. Is a documentary called Final Account. It is about it tells the story of Germans who were in various places during the Holocaust and have different opinions on it. I would say it's pretty lackluster, unfortunately, given the premise and just how important it feels like it needs to be. I will say that some parts, specifically the end, I really quite like, just because of how much it drives home the importance of why it is still so necessary to talk about these subjects. Of course, see the film for yourself if you like. But still many people denying, downplaying all of it. It's tragic. And that part of the documentary I liked. But for the most of it is just interviews of people recounting things that are, public knowledge by this point, with very, little to add, unfortunately, across all of the people being interviewed, as well as stock footage that's, haunting, but it loses its gimmick pretty quickly, as well as, some sad violin. Pretty basic documentary story we've heard before. It really doesn't bring much new, except, again, for proving why it's so important. Final Account is a C. Folks, coming in at number 6 is Army of the Dead, also a C. We had quite a few C's this month, I think 3. Army of the Dead is long, it's boring, and it's very Zack Snyder. I know for many that will definitely be a good thing. For me, it is certainly not. I think in the ways that it is original, like I mentioned in my review, how it combines both a heist and a zombie apocalypse, as well as the way they adapt the zombies, it feels like it's doing it just for the sake of it. It doesn't feel like it adds anything super interesting to the plot. And the regular, it is just a basic story if you strip it of all of the excess style. So Army of the Dead, long, boring, not, I commend them, but not my favorite film of the year. Number 6. Folks, coming in at number 5, our first positively rated film on this list would be Cruella with a B. It's pretty solid. Like Army of the Dead. Actually, most of the films that I've reviewed up until this point, they're all not particularly original or new stories, and I think that just goes to show my taste. I like original stories, and I think Cruella has a very predictable story. But the thing that Cruella separates it from some of the other films on this list is that there is a distinct style that I like attached to it. It is not some bland film that is not even worth seeing. It's got some fun style. It does, and I quite enjoy the style in some parts. I'm obviously not the biggest fan of it. I'm a little, hesitant. I like to balance the two things out, a good story as well as the style. But I think the style definitely gives it, at least a slight advantage above some of the other films on this list. Cruella gets a B, and a number 5 on this list. Most coming in at number 4, Those Who Wish Me Dead. Painfully simple, I'd say. Really the only thing differentiating it from other action films is the setting. Just the setting of it being in the woods, nothing else particularly interesting. But, you know, what are you going to do? It's a basic action film. It really has nothing wrong with it, per se. So, can't discount it too much. Folks, coming in at number 3 is Wrath of Man with an A. The beginning and the end are damn good. Superb. Especially the end. I said it a million times in my review. The end of Wrath of Man is phenomenal. Okay? But the middle, the largest chunk of the film, is boring. It's not interesting to watch. It sucks. And there's a few other problems I had with the middle. Watch my review if you want to see exactly. But, you know, style issues, length, all of it. And it does bring it down for me, but I think just the end is so good, and it leaves such a good taste in your mouth that it's hard to even remember the middle when you have something like that overshadowing it. So, folks, Wrath of Man at number 3 with an A. Folks, coming in at number 2, I wasn't sure. I'm going to count it as a movie, I suppose, but it could be contested. Bo Burnham, Inside, with an A. You know, he is my kind of comedy, evidently a lot of people's comedy, but self-aware, meta. I would say that definitely, if possible, it goes maybe even too far at times within the film, to the point where, you know, sort of done to death, as well as the whole shtick as time goes on just definitely gets less interesting, but it is relatively short, and, you know, classic Bo Burnham. He has all the songs, all the meta-ness of, you know, how he feels in various scenarios throughout the pandemic. It's very well made. There's no denying that. It's undeniably funny. It's undeniably clever. Not everyone's cup of tea. I certainly enjoyed it quite a bit. Number 2 on this list. I think that goes to show how much I liked it. But, folks, coming in at number 1, undeniably, you know, it's a bit poetic, really, that number 8 is Spiral. It is also my least favorite film of May and of the year. And number 1 is another horror film, both my favorite of May and of the year thus far, folks. A Quiet Place Part 2 comes in at number 1 on the May list with an A. It's an excellent film. It's an excellent film. It's original, unlike Spiral. You know, original horror films, again, not the biggest fan of the horror genre because most of the time they retread a lot of ground. A Quiet Place certainly does not, and neither does its sequel. And the sequel builds off so naturally of what the first one had created. The tension, you know, really everything. The story is escalated. It's a brilliant thing. And, folks, that intro, the intro of A Quiet Place Part 2 it's brilliant. It is really one of the best film intros of all time. I cannot stress how much I like the intro to A Quiet Place Part 2. But the rest of the film is great as well. And I think it's very deserving of the number 1 spot on this list. A Quiet Place Part 2 is my favorite film of May. Alright, folks, that's my ranking of the films I saw in May. Of the ones I listed, maybe you even saw more, leave me your own ranking down below in the comments. Maybe just name your favorite or your least favorite, whatever you're passionate about. Folks, I won't judge, I promise you. I may comment a reply, though. Would that be fine with you? Let me know. If it's not, you know, I won't. Okay? I'll respect your wishes, folks. I've been Needy PC Reviews. You have been amazing. I will see you in June. It's already June. I'll see you in it.